Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure your cell phones are switched off or put on silent before we start. And please rise with the procession and remain standing until they're seated.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You can be seated. Good evening, Sanibonani, goeienaand, Dumelang. My name is Patrick O'Brien. I'm the General Counsel of the University of Johannesburg. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you here on behalf of the Vice-Chancellor and the University to the Professorial Inaugural Address of Professor Ilse Botha. I wish to express a warm welcome to all of you, your loved ones, a special guest and the colleagues. This is a profound, joyful and landmark moment for all of you, for Professor Botha personally and of course for all of us here at UJ. I specifically wish to acknowledge Professor Daniel van Hul, the Executive Dean of the College of Business and Economics, Professor Andreas Simon, the respondent, Professor in Economics at Northwest University, and the members of Senate and academics. Of course, also a special word of welcome to Professor Botha's loved ones here tonight, her husband Lawrence, her daughter Simay and Carissa, her mother Lana Geldenhuys, her mother-in-law Eleanor Botha, her brothers Stoffel and Edward, and Stoffel's wife Mercia. The inauguration of professors is a public ceremony in which newly appointed professors are inducted into office and deliver their inaugural lectures. The ceremony has its roots in the medieval university and serves multiple purposes. Firstly, it is an expression of welcome and an entry for new professors joining the circle of colleagues who are already professors. Secondly, it provides a platform for the professors to display their expertise in the discipline and showcase their research. Thirdly, it stands out as a moment of pride and celebration for the incumbent, the family, fellow scholars, the university and society. It is a celebration of the achievement of major milestones, contributions to the discipline, and its ultimate impact on our society. This evening we are gathered to bear witness to the entry of Professor Botha into the illustrious community of scholars at the university. We will listen to her inaugural lecture as one further step in the journey of being a professor. This is a journey that does not end once this lecture has been given. It is a self-reflective pause in the journey of the professor, with a promise of more to enrich our minds and simultaneously contribute to the rich intellectual body of work in the discipline. Professor Botha, we are looking forward to your address. I now invite the Executive Dean, Professor van Hul, to introduce Professor Botha.
Thank you, Professor O'Brien, and good evening, dear family and friends. It is wonderful to see all of you tonight. And right in front of me is a very special person, which in the language where I come from is known as Oma, I guess. So it is wonderful to have you tonight with us, and congratulations on your daughter's fine performance and contribution to the community of the College of Business and Economics. And thank you for raising her not just as a great academic, but as a human being. That, I think, is of most importance, and a great teacher. And then to your husband and your daughters as well here tonight, good to see you again. We have met at a previous occasion, which I remember as a memorial occasion, and I saw your daughters on Facebook. And I must say, it's great to have you here tonight. En baie dankie ook dat julle vir mamma ondersteun terwyl sy haar ding doen en ek weet baie keer laat by die huis is of jy weet daai die rekenaar ding doen. Baie dankie daarvoor. It's wonderful to have you all with us. So tonight it's my absolute pleasure to provide you with a narrative of Ilse Botha. So Ilse has got a very interesting undergrad background. She obtained a BA in Humanities in 1996 and then a BCom Honours in Econometrics in 1997 from the former Rand Afrikaans University. In 2000 she obtained her MCom Economics cum laude from the same institution and was awarded the Chancellor's Medal. Not too bad. In 2001 she obtained a second honours degree in econometrics, also cum laude, and in 2004 she obtained her DCom in economics, also from RA. So it's very clear what her background is. She started her career then as an economist in the private sector in 1998, and her association with higher education started in 2001 when she joined the economics department at RA. She taught at the undergrad and postgrad levels and played a leading role in the development of econometric modules. In 2012, she joined the Department of Finance and Investment Management and was involved with postgraduate teaching and supervision. She also joined the School of Accounting at the University of Johannesburg with the formation of the College of Business and Economics in July 2017. And here she is currently the head of research in the Department of Accountancy and is involved in teaching, supervision and research. And Ilse, you are really playing a cardinal role, and the difference is already visible and tangible. It's actually wonderful. Ilse specializes in advanced econometrics and quantitative research methods in finance, mostly at postgraduate level, and she is an accomplished supervisor of master's and doctoral studies. Ilse is her scholarly work focuses on time series econometrics and forecasting, and her current research explores exchange rates, sovereign credit ratings, tourism economics, and business cycle analysis. Her research on nonlinear forecasting of tourism demand is pioneering work, which represents one of the initial attempts introducing nonlinear forecasting techniques into the field of tourism forecasting. It has made a significant contribution to methodological developments in the field of research. So her work has been published in reputable national and international journals, and she actually participates and presents at international conferences. It's amazing how a life's work can be summarized in one paragraph, isn't it? And nobody is really interested in the number of hours or the pain or the, well, in my case, definitely rejection of manuscripts, or kind of rather what I would consider at that point cruel remarks on my brain-children. She has been involved in research projects from both public and private sectors, linking her expertise as a researcher with specific problems facing the economy. And moreover, she has conducted a number of consultancy projects, promoting collaboration between academics and industry, and contributing to government policy making and societal development. She's also a referee for high-impact academic journals, such as Social Indicator Research, Tourism Management, Tourism Economics, Economic Modeling, and the International Journal of Economic and Finance. And in addition, she plays an active role in the academic community, acting as an internal and external examiner and moderator. She has facilitated several workshops and seminars at UJ and other institutions on quantitative research methods and advanced economic topics. She is a member of the Economic Society of South Africa and has been the chair of the Johannesburg branch from 2013 to 2018. She's also a member of the International Institute of Forecasters. So Ilse, we are looking forward to hearing the narrative in your own words, and we are looking forward to hear what you plan to contribute towards a better and a brighter future. The floor is yours.
Acting Vice-Chancellor and University General Counsel, Prof Patrick O'Brien, Executive Dean of the College of Business and Economics, Prof Daniel van Lille, Senior Director of the School of Accounting, Prof Amanda Dempsey. Family, friends and colleagues, good evening and thank you for your presence here tonight. The title of my address is Time Series Forecasting in the Artificial Intelligence Domain, Learning Through the Lens of Time. Now, before I start, I would like us to think about forecasting in everyday life. Most of us use a weather app to get a weather forecast when we are organizing an event, or when we need to plan a journey, we use Google Maps to get an estimated time of arrival. Another example of predictive analytics is when you receive adverts based on your browsing history or likes on Facebook. So forecasting is part of artificial intelligence, and it became part of our daily lives. Humans are curious about the future, and therefore we are interested in making predictions. We are interested in the future if we draw value from such a prediction. Time is a determining factor for forecasting or prediction, since we can only forecast the future if time passes. Time never stops, and this is the reason why forecasting exists. In this address, I will discuss the evolution and the future of time series analysis and forecasting through the lens of artificial intelligence. I will start with a brief introduction to time series analysis, followed by the evolution of time series forecasting and its link with artificial intelligence. Thereafter, I will discuss the challenges and the opportunities that big data brought to the field of forecasting. A time series is a data series that varies over time. Time series data have certain components that drive the data generating process, such as seasonality, cyclicality, trends, or volatile behavior. Examples of time series are the daily exchange rate, weekly sales, the monthly inflation rate, quarterly tourist arrivals, or annual GDP growth rates. Usual time series that but that's been reported in newspapers every day. So time series analysis and time series forecasting are terms that are used interchangeably, and they address the two main objectives of a time series problem. Firstly, to analyze data in order to identify patterns, and secondly, to make forecasts from these identified patterns. Moreover, we predict future trends based on past behavior, and these forecasts have value in business, finance, and economics, which needs reliable information of the current economic state and the future state to inform decision making. There are two main approaches to forecasting, namely a qualitative and a quantitative forecasting approach. The qualitative approach focuses on judgmental forecasting, which involves a subjective opinion of an expert about the future. The quantitative approach is an objective assessment where past behavior informs the present and the future. The most widely spread quantitative methods are various time series models, and a large number of models are used to forecast time series, ranging from simple regression and exponential smoothing models to complex combined models. A major advance in the forecasting field that distinguishes it from other fields is that there is a vast number of empirical studies that focus on theoretical or academic problems, as well as addressing problems that practitioners face. So econometric theory is closely linked to empirical problems in time series econometrics and is developed by these practical empirical problems. This is evident if we look at how time series methods have evolved and adapted to theoretical and practical challenges that has transpired over time. Time series econometrics has improved our ability to address these real-world problems. Analysis and forecasting of time series data can be applied to any time series that has a specific seasonal or trend change with time. Consequently, there are application fields such as business finance, stock markets, exchange rate, weather forecasting, supply chain, a lot of demands like electricity demand, consumer, tourism demand, business cycles, and macroeconomic monitoring. And that is just a few of the fields that use time series forecasting. Time series forecasting has developed over time, and a vast number of papers are published in the broader field of business, finance, and economics. These papers usually involve a comparison of forecasting accuracy between certain models or methods against a benchmark model. Certain fields in time series forecasting have certain preferred benchmark models and type of forecasting models due to the underlying data generating process of the data at hand. Time series models are developed to specifically address the components present in a time series. These models that are used for forecasting also depends on whether the objective of forecasting is such as to propagate the history into the future using only one variable or multiple variables, whether you are interested in long-term or short-term forecasts, or whether you are interested in a causal relationship in order to make a forecast. Early in the 19th century, attempts to study time series were based on the assumption of a deterministic world, a linear world. In 1921, Joule introduced the first autoregressive concept and predicted a sequence of sunspots using a linear model. The theoretical developments in time series analysis on the notion of stochastic processes was launched in 1927. This sparked the development of several time series methods, such as the concept of autoregressive models and moving average models. Exponential smoothing methods, which originated in the 50s and the 60s, were widely used in business and industry. These methods did not have a well-developed statistical foundation, and further developments by Box and Jenkins in the early 1970s showed that exponential smoothing models are special cases of autoregressive integrated moving average models, also known as ARIMA models. ARIMA was popularized due to the ease of computing when computers became widely available, and the first generalization of these models was the multivariate ARIMA model, and even today these Box-Jenkins models are the most commonly used ones. Many techniques used for forecasting and seasonal adjustment can be traced back to these models. This field, which was then dominated by practitioners during the 70s, evolved academically, and regression and econometric models developed the body of knowledge since then. Other developments which originated from the Box-Jenkins models are the non-linear generalizations, namely the ARCH, the autoregressive conditional heteroscedastic model, and then the gauge models. A key feature of financial time series is that there are periods of high volatility, which is followed by high volatility, and this is termed volatility clustering in econometrics and finance. The family of ARCH models was introduced by Engler in 1982 to address this feature. These models are useful in financial time series and allow for the prediction of non-constant variance. Professor Clive Granger and Professor Robert Engler received the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences in 2003 for these ARCH and error correction models. Now, compared to the study of linear models, the development of nonlinear time series analysis and forecasting was neglected for a very long time. This can be attributed to the complexity of these models and the computational difficulties. During the late 1970s and the early 1980s, it became evident that the linear models are insufficient in many real-world applications. In the early 1990s, Granger and Terras Vista advanced new developments in nonlinear forecasting models for economic and financial time series. These models impose time-varying parameters or parameters whose values changes when the process switches between different regimes, such as the star or the CTAR or the Markov switching model. Another nonlinear model that has gained popularity is the artificial neural network, which has been applied to many areas of statistics, one of which is time series forecasting. Although adaptable, consistent and trainable, a general problem with these nonlinear models is their complexity. During the mid-90s, vector autoregressions became popular, VARs, for macroeconometric models. However, the need to increase the number of variables to improve forecast accuracy remained a challenge. With the unrestricted VAR, the number of parameters increases with the square of the number of the variables. Time series methods needed to be developed to circumvent this propagation of parameters when large number of variables are used, therefore the need for high dimension modeling. Dynamic factor modeling addressed this challenge. In a dynamic factor model, a small number of latent factors explain the co-movement of a large number of variables. When the number of variables increases, the computational burden does not increase, but the precision of estimation of the factor improves. The curse of dimensionality therefore becomes a blessing. Research over the past 20 years has established that dynamic factor modeling are a leading method for the joint modeling of large numbers of time series, especially for big data. Forecasters often compare different models with similar predictive power, and it is difficult to single out one superior model. Some models are accurate in certain market conditions, but due to the uncertainty of the future, it's difficult to tell which conditions will prevail. Individual models might not be able to track all these conditions, and hence the rise of combination and hybrid models. The combination of forecasts, mixing or pooling quantitative forecasts from different time series, methods or judgmental forecast has been studied for the past 3 decades. These combination forecasts have proven to outperform single models. These models have the ability to diversify uncertainty, and usually similar models have been combined, such as a combination of traditional forecasting models or a combination of different neural nets. But recent literature showed that accuracy improves if different models are combined to address different components of a time series. Real-world time series problems are complex and are seldom purely linear or nonlinear. They often contain both a linear and a nonlinear component. In such a case, a pure linear or nonlinear model will not be adequate in modeling and forecasting the time series. These hybrid models integrate the features and strengths of different models to overcome individual weaknesses in models. Now, forecasting competitions have become very popular in time series literature. The latest forecasting competition was done in 2018 by the pioneer of forecasting competitions and world leader in forecasting, Prof Spiros Makridakis. These competitions started in the 1980s and is called the M competitions. These competitions involved large-scale empirical forecast evaluation of newly proposed methods against existing methods and played an integral part in development of new methods in time series forecasting that have proved to work in practice. The first few competitions before the 1980s were by individual researchers comparing the accuracy of several methods applied to time series. So the full-scale competitions only became feasible after the computer became widely available. In their 1979 paper, Makridakis and Hibben used 111 time series and compared several forecasting methods with a follow-up competition involving 1001 time series. This paper was seminal in forecasting research since the focus in the research shifted to the importance of producing good forecasts rather than getting caught up in the mathematical properties of the model. It cautioned researchers on overfitting, and it was also the start of automated forecasting methods. The findings showed that complex methods do not necessarily outperform simple methods. Combination forecasts outperform individual forecasts most of the time, and that performance of the methods depend on the accuracy measure and the forecast horizon. The M2 competition was next in 1993 with only 29 time series, but it contained a rich data set run in real time. The M3 competition in 1998 used 3,300 time series from business, demography, finance and economics on an annual, quarterly and monthly basis. And the most recent competition in the M series of competitions, the M4, comprised of 100,000 time series with variance frequencies up to the minute frequency. The aim of this competition was to evaluate the performance of machine learning and deep learning models as a forecasting tool in response to the increasing number of papers and claims that these models offer superior results to time series forecasting. Findings show that simple time series forecasting methods outperform more sophisticated methods, including artificial neural networks, confirming the results from previous M competitions. The machine learning methods and the deep learning methods have the potential of better learning time series data than classical statistical methods, and due to the learning ability should do better than simple benchmarks such as exponential smoothing. The problem might lie in the fact that academic machine learning forecasting literature claims forecasting accuracy without comparison with the simple statistical models or naive benchmarks. This creates the expectation that machine learning methods provide accurate forecasts without empirical proof. Additionally, disclosure on how the forecasts of the machine learning methods are generated, the so-called black box, is not acceptable for practitioners who need to know how forecasts are generated, influenced, or adjusted. Additionally, machine learning methods must also be able to provide confidence intervals. Uncertainty has not been addressed in the machine learning field, leaving a gap that must be filled, since estimating uncertainty in forecasts, the confidence interval, is as important as the forecast itself. The fourth industrial revolution brought a new wave of terms such as data science, artificial intelligence, AI, and data mining, with time series related terms such as predictive analytics, machine learning, which can be supervised or unsupervised, and structured and unstructured data such as big data. Data science is an interdisciplinary field to extract insight from data, and it's mainly concerned with the prediction, summation, data manipulation, and visualization. Data mining can be considered as a superset of many different methods to analyze structured or unstructured data. Data mining applies methods to identify previously unknown patterns from the data, and data mining also includes data storage and manipulation. Artificial intelligence can be defined as a revolutionary technology that learns on its own from analyzing and discovering patterns in large amounts of data. It consists of a group of data-driven methodologies, and the components of artificial intelligence can be classified into artificial neural networks, genetic algorithms, fuzzy logic, probabilistic and belief networks, and then machine learning, where time series analysis slots in. Machine learning is a component of artificial intelligence and is closely related to data mining, but it is primarily focused on predictions, while data mining is concerned with summation of data and the identifying patterns. Machine learning is central to many approaches to artificial intelligence and is mainly analytical and statistical. Basic machine learning is predictive analytics using supervised learning based on data for which the values of the outcome variable are known. A typical example here is a normal regression-based machine learning model. Machine learning also includes model types like artificial neural networks and deep learning, which are also statistical in nature, but are categorized as supervised learning. These methods identify patterns from large amounts of data and automatically learn from these patterns. Artificial neural networks and deep learning are the dominant unsupervised machine learning techniques in this area. Artificial intelligence has been applied to forecasting using machine learning and especially artificial neural networks to improve time series forecast. Artificial intelligence has caused a paradigm shift in forecasting, moving from supervised to unsupervised learning due to big data. This means that there was a shift from a computer-assisted, model and assumption-based to a data-driven and fully automated forecasting approach. So the first significant academic reference to big data in computer science was in 1998 and in 2000 in statistics and econometrics. The reference to big data and those first citations pertain to bigger data sets than normal, but since then it has evolved to include a range of characteristics. Big data spans and differ across fields such as computer science, statistics and econometrics, and has several broad forms such as photographic, binary and numerical. Big data can therefore be defined as a complex heterogeneous data set including huge volume, high velocity and high variety data with potential value that can be processed electronically to inform decision making. The big data revolution has transformed the model world and is an important data mining topic currently. There is a very strong connection between big data and predictive analytics, even though traditional forecasting tools cannot handle the unstructured nature and size of these data sets. It is important to structure unstructured data and reduce the dimensionality in order to capture the dynamic changes. This is a common challenge in empirical research that traditional econometric methods should address. Factor modeling, a statistical dimension reduction technique, is a possible answer to this challenge and is a popular technique for big data forecasting. Dynamic factor models and extensions of these factor models are used extensively in big data forecasting, as well as other factor-augmented econometric extensions. All these factor estimations methods have been developed in light of big data forecasting. Artificial neural networks and Bayesian models are also popular. Furthermore, hybrid forecasting methods with dimension reduction for specification and estimation of factors with various types of machine learning and then shrinking methods are showing potential in big data forecasting. The advanced skill set required to work with big data present a major challenge since there is a shortage of data scientists. Researchers are highly proficient in using traditional statistical techniques to obtain accurate forecasts, but the incompatibility of traditional statistical techniques with unstructured and large data sets are impeding the effectiveness and the application of forecasts from big data. In order to overcome this problem, it's important that curricula are developed to incorporate the skills necessary to analyze big data in order for future statisticians or econometricians to be well equipped with the required skills. To overcome the constraints imposed by skills in other disciplines, Modules should also be incorporated in various programs to develop skills required to understand and analyze big data using novel techniques. The application of big data and time series models in accounting and auditing is still in its infancy, but due to the availability of big data, the opportunity is promising. Nowadays, quality financial and non-financial information is very important, and this requires the use of technology to improve financial reporting and audit processes. Business analytics, along with the access to detailed industry information, aids businesses in identifying challenges and opportunities that can create business value. Time series forecasting is central to this automation and optimization of business processes, and these processes include supply chain, cloud computing, and workforce scheduling. Big data analytics can identify patterns and detect abnormalities and irregularities in very large data sets with uncountable transactions. Big data time series analysis and data analytics should be incorporated into business and accounting programs. In terms of dynamic factor models, opportunities exist for drawing useful information from higher factors, which are usually excluded, or perhaps to exploit the nonlinear structure in these factors that could be revealed by modern machine learning methods. To explore this additional information in large data sets, new methods should be developed, guided by theory. We have seen rapid developments in methods for time series data over the past 20 years. These new methods saw the light due to improved computational capacity, improved data availability, and new understanding in econometric and statistical theory. The driver behind these developments is the need of policymakers and private sector decision makers to understand the uncertain future. This drive will not change, and time series econometricians have a challenge lying ahead. Similar to statistical methods, the objective of machine learning methods is to improve forecast accuracy by minimizing the sum of the squared errors. The difference lies in the fact that machine learning methods use nonlinear algorithms, while statistical methods use mostly linear processes to minimize the loss function. Some machine learning methods are computationally challenging and complex, requiring computer programming skills, consequently meaning that machine learning is at the intersection of statistics and computer science. Additionally, statistical software is not able to handle big data forecasting and computing capabilities, and the structure of current statistical software will require improvements in order to be able to analyze big data sets. To work with big data sets, knowledge of the tools of the computer scientist, such as Python and SQL, is key. Not only does time series forecasting have a wide application field, but the research landscape is quite wide, with research experts in statistics, econometrics, data mining, and databases, each with a unique focus. In statistics and econometrics, forecasting methods have been developed to forecast time series with an array of models to fit a time series pattern. Then again, data mining and database researchers focus on finding patterns in big data time series. Deep learning is dominant in machine learning applications and has recently gained interest in the field of time series forecasting, which has the potential to improve forecasting performance. Opportunities exist for productive collaboration between econometricians and machine learning theorists. Econometricians, statisticians, and data mining specialists are concerned with the insight from data, and machine learning specialists are concerned with developing high-performance computer systems to produce useful forecasts. This is a powerful combination. To conclude, time series forecasting is part of machine learning, and it has evolved over time from simple linear methods to nonlinear methods and complex deep learning methods, showing a shift from supervised to unsupervised learning. Forecasting competitions over the years have facilitated the development of the time series forecasting field, and the latest competition highlighted the shortcomings of unsupervised machine learning and deep learning methods for time series forecasting. However, unsupervised machine learning methods and deep learning methods have a better have the potential to increase forecasting accuracy over time, since these methods have a better learning ability than classical statistical methods. Forecasting accuracy should be established by comparing these models' ability to simple statistical methods or naive benchmarks. Combining these various methods addressing different components of a time series has proven to improve forecast accuracy. Equally, the combination of supervised and unsupervised learning has showed a similar trend. The big data revolution has transformed the modern world, and it is an important data mining topic which spans across fields. Data mining forms the basis of AI and ML, although ML is a component of AI. These three notions are intertwined and work together to answer questions, prove hypotheses, give insight into the behavior of a time series. These all have an interdependent relationship by which a combination of methods can be used to produce more accurate results. Due to this data revolution, challenges and opportunities exist for research, education, current research fields, and new research fields. A new skill set is necessary due to the availability of data in certain fields, and the advances in computational power, technology, and deep learning empower researchers to handle bigger time series data set with better speed and accuracy. The challenges that researchers face are how to build time series models that significantly learn to forecast big data sets, and how to improve forecasting with learning models when we have limited observations. It is also important to determine the implications of building forecasting systems that can handle large data volumes. Subjects such as the black box in learning models, confidence intervals, and uncertainty of forecasts should be considered. As the forecasting field has evolved, two findings has changed the field fundamentally and have stood steadfast through the test of time. These findings are firstly that the best methods or models to fit a time series do not necessarily result in more accurate out-of-sample forecasts, and secondly, the out-of-sample forecast of simple models are found to be at least as accurate as the complex ones. Researchers should therefore be mindful of this new wave of developments in time series forecasting we are facing. Furthermore, these developments also brought forth the combination of different fields or disciplines of expertise. Therefore, looking at the future, the lens we use should focus on multidisciplinary approach to solving complex problems in time series forecasting. Thank you. Okay, now I must do this. Okay, I would like to end with some words of gratitude to those who contributed to who I am today. This day would not have been possible without the grace of God and in the support of family, friends and colleagues. Ek wil begin deur alle eer te gee aan my hemelse Vader, wat deur sy gees, wat deur sy genade my die nodige krag, insig en leiding op hierdie reis gegee het. Hy het mense op my pad gebring wat 'n instrumentele rol in my akademiese loopbaan gespeel het. 'n Spesiale woord van dank aan my man. Dis kom ek dit in die begin gedoen het. Laurens, jy is my steunpilaar en my grootste ondersteuner sedert ons in ons tweede jaar ontmoet het. Baie dankie vir jou aanmoediging. onvoorwaardelike ondersteuning en jou geloof in my. My 2 dogters, Carissa en Simay. Dankie vir julle ondersteuning en geduld, veral in tye toe ek moeilik sonder 'n rekenaar byderhand 'n fliek kon kyk of kon help met huiswerk. Ek is geseënd om julle deur my lewe te hê en ek is baie lief vir julle. Dan 'n besondere woord van dank aan my ma en my skoonma vir julle volgehoue ondersteuning en liefde. Ek is waarlik dankbaar en geëerd om julle hier te kan hê vanaand. Ek wil ook graag my familie en vriende bedank, van wie sommige van so ver as Mpumalanga in Noordwes gekom het, om in hierdie spesiale geleentheid te kom deel. Without the support of the academic community, this day would not have been possible, and I would like to thank my various mentors during my studies and my career. I would also like to thank my HOD, Prof Ben Marks, my previous HODs, Prof Lorraine Greiling, she's not here, and Prof Gideon Els, and then the Dean, Prof Daniel van Lille, and the Senior Director of the School of Accounting, Prof Amanda Dempsey. Colleagues from UJ, colleagues and collaborators and friends from other universities, and my students, thank you all for your support and sharing in the joy of this special occasion with me. Thank you.
Vice-Chancellor, Professor O'Brien, Executive Dean, Professor van Lille, other professors of University of Johannesburg and other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege for me to respond to the inaugural address of Prof Ilse Botha. In her address, Ilse explained the development of time series modeling and forecasting and the formalization of the processes used, which led to the popularity and success of time series forecasting. So she gave us a bit of a glimpse in her world, if I can say it like that, so the things that she keeps herself busy with. She also highlighted in the address the fact that linear forecasting methods dominate the literature, as well as the empirical evidence in most application fields, and that non-linear modeling and forecasting have been neglected. And the main reason for this is due to its complex nature. It is, however, here that Ilse made her mark both nationally and internationally, starting with a doctoral thesis that investigated linear versus non-linear methods in modeling the business cycle in South Africa. She already acknowledged that focusing only on linear methods in forecasting will not be sufficient, and focusing only on one forecasting methodology will also not be sufficient. Modeling and forecasting, taking business cycle movements into consideration, represent a unique challenge since cyclical variations are nonlinear by nature. They are often persistent, they are highly correlated with other time series, sometimes with leads, sometimes with lags, and although they are repetitive, they are not periodic at all. So modeling and forecasting, taking this cyclicality in economic time series into consideration has remained a key theme in her research, which she has done a lot of good publications on. Some of the noteworthy contributions in this field include the following: a comparative analysis of the synchronization of business cycles for developed and developing countries with the world business cycle, an investigation into the financial market as a leading indicator for the business cycle in South Africa, a business cycle perspective on the much discussed credit cycle in South Africa for the period 1985 to 2009, the explanatory power of the yield curve in predicting recessions in South Africa, business cycle co-movements between South Africa and advanced economies, the pro-cyclicality of African sovereign credit ratings, and characterizing cycles exhibited by important financial sections in the South African economy. It is also how I came to learn of Ilse is through a business cycle research. And as I recall, it was at the Port Elizabeth conference where we first started talking about working together. So we have done a couple of research projects together, and most recently we again joined forces to forecast tourist arrivals to both South Africa and Canada, which are viewed as long-haul tourist destinations, taking both the tourism and the business cycle into consideration. And the paper was recently presented at the International Institute of Forecasting conference. So secondly, in forecasting, Ilse has always taken the newest developments into consideration and made significant contributions to showing the improved forecasting performance of non-linear methods compared to linear methods, especially in the domains of exchange rate and tourism demand forecasting. Some of her contributions in non-linear forecasting include the following: the direct versus indirect forecasting of the defined real exchange rate of South Africa, comparing linear and non-linear benchmarks for exchange rate forecasting, forecasting the exchange rate in South Africa, a comparative analysis challenging the random walk model. In terms of tourism forecasting, time-varying parameter error correction model approach to forecasting tourist arrivals in South Africa, and non-linear models for tourism demand forecasting. Professor Gang Lee from the University of Surrey and a leading scholar in tourism forecasting noted that Ilse did pioneering work on introducing non-linear forecasting methods in tourism demand modeling and forecasting, and therefore she made a significant contribution to the methodological developments in this field. It is also in time series forecasting and modeling that she contributes not only to the academic sphere, but also to business practice. She regularly assists Dr. Roelof Botha, whom apologized for not being able to attend tonight, but asked that I read the following about Ilse. So this is a quote. The admiration that Ilse has received for the masterful manner in which she has conducted theoretically grounded research has also been supplemented by her ability to combine theory and practice. Her command over the subject of econometrics, including the development of groundbreaking technical analysis, has won international acclaim. Over the past decade, it has been a singular pleasure for me to have co-opted Ilse on a variety of macroeconomic impact assessments that required econometric analysis. One such project, commissioned by the Security Industry Alliance, concluded that the implementation of the Private Security Industry Regulation Amendment Bill will have a severe adverse effect on the South African economy, and the bill was subsequently scrapped. With the advantage of hands-on experience in her field of endeavor, her combination of practical, theoretical, and communication skills, she greatly enhances the status of UJ as a center of excellence in econometrics. Okay, unquote. So while we are here today to celebrate Ilse's achievements to date, we all know an academic's work is never over. And in her inaugural address, she also explained the unique challenges that the developments in the field present, not only for research, but also for student curricular development. The future certainly includes the combination of forecast and different forecasting models and methods to improve forecasting accuracy. And these models will not just be linear, as has been the trend to date, it will also be non-linear. Improved computer technology and the availability of big data. Now, we are all very happy that Google made data available on their site for everyone. Opens up new avenues, and I, for one, am excited about the prospect this holds for time series modelers and forecasters. With this, I wish to congratulate Prof Ilse Botha on achieving this milestone in her academic career, as well as the University of Johannesburg for recognizing a well-deserved career. And I look forward to working with you again in future. Thank you.
I would like to invite Professors Van Dahl and Simon to join me, that we can row Professor Botha.
I was specifically asked to make sure that everything was in order.
Thank you very much. As we reach the end of this ceremony, allow me again, Professor Botha, to congratulate you on having achieved tonight a momentous milestone in your academic career, your Professorial Inaugural Lecture. Your lecture demonstrated your exceptional ability to profess your knowledge, giving new meaning to a theme that has occupied human endeavours from time immemorial: how to predict the future having regard to past events. As is the case with many other disciplines today, your lecture also gave insight in how the advent of the Fourth Industrial Revolution will also revolutionize the ancient, enduring human attempt to make sense of the future. Your promotion to professor confirms the high level of scholarship you have already achieved. I look forward to observing the leadership associated with this position in Senate and elsewhere, and thank you for allowing us to be part of that journey. Before I close the proceedings, Professor Verhoef asked if she could hand you something on behalf of your colleagues.